I'd like to call the Public Service Committee to order. All members are present. And I'd like a motion on the minutes from our previous meeting. Is there a motion to accept the minutes? Thank you. Thank you. And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Thank you. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none. We have no items on our old agenda, so we will go right to this week's legislation. And we have two items right now that are on there, and that's item number 7 is an ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service to enter into an agreement, participatory legislation with the Ohio Director of Transportation for certain improvements of the Princeton Street Bridge over State Route 76, declaring that said project is in the public interest and declaring an emergency. Mr. Moore.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, this is part of a $101 million improvement in the Central Interchange Corridor. This bridge is about $1 million of that total. We've asked ODOT to do some extra improvements on the bridge. One, they're going to widen the sidewalks. They're also going to do some decorative fencing, and then they're going to light it with LED lights. This project is intended to start in 2021, and consent would be fine.
Are there any questions from members of the committee? Any members from other members of council? What did I just say? Are there any questions from any other members of council? Seeing none, consent was suggested. Is there a motion for consent? I have a motion. Is there a second? I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, this is placed on the consent agenda. Okay, 7A is our second piece to come before public service. This is a resolution declaring it necessary to improve East Market Street between the termini of Canton Road and Interstate 76, Cyberlane Street between the termini of Triplet Boulevard and Archwood Avenue, Innovation Way between the termini of East Market Street and Cyberlane Street, Vernon Odom Boulevard between the termini of Romig Road and McTaggart Drive, and Opportunity Parkway between the termini of Edgewood Avenue and Cedar Street by resurfacing and declaring an emergency. Mr. Moore.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, this is a $2.4 million ODOT project. It's resurfacing of these streets. A while back, you passed the ordinance that allow us to enter into a contract with them. This would allow us to establish our uniform assessment rate on those streets, and consent would be fine.
Mr. Moore, when would this take place, do we imagine?
That's a great question. If you'll give me just a second.
You know, you can get back to me on that. That is not
Okay.
going to influence how I vote. It just...
It's possible they could start some of that work this year, but it's getting very late in the year. I think it's much more practical. ODOT would start next spring.
Okay. That sounds great. It was just so when I go to my ward meeting, I can tell them when some of these are happening. That's all. It doesn't influence a vote. Committee, is there any questions or concerns? Councilman Hoke.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the first item there, East Market Street between the termini of Canton Road and Interstate 76, that will include underneath the bridge also, won't it? From the west side of 76?
Correct. It actually goes up to, there are some tracks very close to the interchange there on the west side of the interchange. It goes to that point there.
The Wheeling Lake Erie tracks?
I believe so.
Right there by Papa Don's?
Oh, okay. All right, it goes down that far then. Okay. All right. Yes, yeah, that's like the moon underneath there, so I wanted to make sure.
Certainly.
Okay, thank you.
Any other council members
Thank you,
on the
Madam Chair.
committee? Questions? Any other members of council? Hearing and seeing none. Did you say, Mr. Moore,
Consent would be fine.
Okay. I'll make a motion for consent. And I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none. Is there anything else to come before this committee? Okay. Then we are adjourned.
Thank you very much.